Clustering is the most prevalent offensive mistake in Ultimate currently. Stacks are used to create large open spaces or lanes so that an attacker can exit the stack, initiate a 1-to-1 matchup, and then beat their defender into a space using their initiation advantage. Stacks make throwing and cutting choices simple. There tends to be 2 or 3 distinct valuable spaces, and if an attacker is winning the race to that space, then they will be thrown to. We've already seen how 1-to-1 isolated matchup scenarios are extremely lucrative for the offense in Part 0, so we should try to prevent this with defensive strategy. One way we can exploit clusters is by playing zonal defense. It doesn't really matter what zone, all zones will destroy the stack and force the offense to spread out. In any zonal system, all the valuable spaces which the stack creates are clogged by the defense. Effectively, in the race to valuable space, the defense is already at the finish line. Offense can complete passes, but not by racing. Zones do have some drawbacks though. Zones tend to decrease the tempo of the offense, and this means attackers make better throwing decisions and execute throws and catches more reliably. Let's also think about exactly how zones counter stacks. They destroy them, and the offense completely changes. That may sound like a good thing, but is it really? Clusters, and especially stacks, are exploitable. This means we believe that when they occur, the offense is making a mistake. If we play a defense that preserves the stack, we can continue to gain advantage by exploiting it. A way of exploiting clusters is with surrounding. As opposed to 1-to-1 scenarios, where the offense has positional advantage to half of the field, surrounding eliminates the offense's positional advantage in a full 360 degrees. The defense should have enough of a positional advantage to counter the offense's initiative. Surrounding is a lesser used defensive strategy, so it's much less likely that the offense will recognize the exploitation, as they would a zone, and choose to spread out. It's also possible to alter or even disguise your surrounding setup to hope to better maintain the stack, turning it into a trap. We'll talk more about this in future videos on surrounding. To learn more about the basics of surrounding, check out this video. Surrounding is also a useful concept in more dynamic situations, once the offense is spread out and making unpredictable movements. What often happens when playing spread offenses like horizontal stack or hex is that players tend to organically cluster. In this situation, defenders should communicate to form a bracket around the players to reduce their positional advantage and preempt a switch. However, we can exploit this tendency even further on defense if these dynamic clusters are in less valuable spaces, for example near sidelines. Near sidelines, defenders in the bracket can utilize the sideline as an extra defender, as obviously the attackers cannot cut to that space. This means bracketing players need to cover fewer angles, and can expand the bracket to pull more attackers in, can look to flash poach, or a defender can even leave the surrounding setup entirely to help in more valuable field space. You can experiment with these tactics and see which are more rewarding and risky with your own team. Exploiting players that are occupying less valuable space is a concept we're going to revisit in Part 3 where we look at inactivity. If you'd like to learn more about how to use the sideline as an extra defender while playing against side stacks, there are explanations available on the $8 training tier on Patreon. You can sign up with the link in the description. See you next time!